Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 3-Day Pivot Chronicles. This is my first time doing YouTube, and I'm so excited. I have been waiting to have this conversation. If you're here and you'll hop in, even if it's throughout the middle of the live, please say hello so I know that you're here. And if you happen to watch the replay, I would love for you to comment also that you have been here, any little nuggets that you have taken away, or anything that really just has been transformational and pivotal for you throughout the experience. As I said, there's going to be 3 chapters to this. So today's chapter 1, your strategic vision and long-term goal. I would love to know if you are here, if it's your first class with me, or if you are a veteran in the space. I know that some of you are going to be watching the replays and you couldn't make the live calls. I also know that today is Father's Day, so I kind of expected that the attendance rate was going to be a little bit lower. But if it's your first time with me and you don't know who I am or you don't know much about me, my name is Carol, and I am the unruly creator that decided to close down my 6-figure beauty business. Former lash artist, retired lash artist, canceled all of my travel trainings, all of my trainings, and took an insane pay cut with no idea if the online space was going to work out. And I launched my first online offer at the end of 2019 into 2020. And honestly have kept at it ever since. This started as a side hustle, a side thing, and I really just wanted to put my creativity to use. And that's honestly how the online thing became about. And then in 2022, last year, I closed everything down and really just took it by the storm. And honestly, it has been such a whirlwind. It has been such a beautiful experience, and I really just can't wait to bring this conversation to you over the next 3 days of what it looks like having an online business, the ins and outs, the things that I have learned, and really just like open up the mystery of the online space, because a lot of the times you hear like, oh, just put an offer together and just sell it, and that's not what the online space is about. And I just really want to have a raw and real conversation with you. My goal is to help each and every one of you start a path to freedom, whether that is coaching in the online space, whether that's setting up a business model that you can sustain in the online world, or putting a transformation together for you people that you know in like your heart that it would shake them to their core. Most importantly, what I want for you is what I wanted for myself for a really long time. I want a peace and freedom of choice. How you start your days, how you spend your days, how you choose to do things in your life, whether you want to sleep in the morning, you being able to make the baseball games for your kids, maybe you're being able to take care of your parents, maybe it's to travel. It's just having the choice to do what your heart actually desires. That's what I want for you, and that's what I wanted for myself. And we're here today doing exactly that. It has taken time. It's taken consistency. It's taken time to show up religiously no matter what. Over the next 3 days, I will be walking you through what to do, the lessons of my journey, a really vulnerable conversation. This is not like the normal trainings that you see me normally do. There's going to be a lot of strategic or applicable steps that you can apply today, tomorrow, Tuesday, that you're going to walk away with, and you're going to understand what it will take, as this is a series or like a series or an introduction to the Queen of Pivot that is starting next month. So this is like the beginning phase of it all. I personally believe in the interconnection of strategy and energy. If you have been in my space, you know that I say this all the time. There needs to be a strategic approach, and there needs to be like an energetic component to pull it all together, because you can have all the strategy in the world, but if you're not right, the strategy is not going to work. And if you just have all the energy and no strategy, like it's not going to work. You're going to need to have both in order to pull the entrepreneurial spirit through. And I believe in the entrepreneurial spirit wholeheartedly. I believe in picking up the microphone and speaking my truth and my lessons. I believe in showing up when no one shows up. I believe in walking the path first. I believe in being a trailblazer. You'll hear a lot of truths today and a lot of polarizing thoughts. There will be moments that you'll feel very, very crunchy granola. It will feel really uncomfortable. It'll feel icky. It'll feel like you just want to run away. Don't. I want you to stay in the room regardless. I want you to let it feel hard. My first drink. I want you to let it feel hard. Okay? That's where breakthroughs happen. The moment that you shy away when things get hard is when you don't grow, you know? And I just want to celebrate the fact that you're here today. In fact, that you're thinking bigger and long-term for your business. Even if you're watching the replay, you chose to show up. You chose to be curious about something more. Obviously, what you're doing right now is probably working and it's great, but there's that little nudge. You're like, what else is there? Like, I know I'm talented. I know that I'm smart. I know that I'm capable. Like, I want more. I want to do more. How you treat this experience over the next 3 days will say a lot about you as a student and also the people that you attract into your world. How you show up, if you show up, the effort you put forth, and so on. Okay? I will look at the comments at the end of class. Some of you are probably going to be hopping in and out, whatever, however all of this ends up playing out. But if you have comments throughout this and you hop in and you want to know something, please ask. I'm just going to answer at the end. I'm not going to go back and forth in the comments. I just want to answer more towards the end. So the people that are going to be listening to this, they can just listen all the way through and it's not as choppy. Okay. Giveaway. As I said, I was going to do giveaways in this freebie, and the winners, Jesus, words are hard. The winners will be announced at the end of day 3, which is going to be Tuesday, probably around 6 or 7 p.m., maybe Wednesday morning. I'm not 100% sure yet, just because I know some of you are going to be watching the replay. I want to give you time to take this freebie program, the 3-day experience, and just kind of go at your own pace. So I know that obviously some of you are not going to be present right now, and I just want to give everyone time to catch up. So what's the giveaway? What's the giveaway? Tell us, Carol. So it's going to be 3 days of Slack with me, private mentorship, 3 days. You have me 3 days with your business, in your business, eyes on your business, whether you want to strategize, whether you need feedback, whether you want me to look over something, content creation, personal brand, social media, literally anything that you need help with when it comes to the online space that I have the capacity to help. I would love to be there. I would love to look over your business and really just give you feedback for 3 days. Number 2, it's going to be access to one of my masterclasses of your choosing. So any masterclass that I have, it's going to be your choosing. Whoever's going to be the winner, I'm going to send you the masterclasses that I have for you to pick from, and you can just pick one. The price range of that normally is $300 to $400. 3 days of Slack with me is probably around $500 as well, especially the full time of it. And then that's going to be the 2 things. And then at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys 40% off of the Queen of Pivot program for the next 72 hours, which starts on Tuesday. So from Tuesday, you have 72 hours to take 40% off until the program goes into the full price. So you guys will have a special code. I'm going to announce it on here. You guys will know about it when you watch the class. The requirements for the giveaway in order to be entered into the giveaway is going to be just sharing snippets of the class and tagging me on the gram. That is it. Bonus points if you have some realizations or aha moments during the call. This is not a requirement. This should not feel forced. This should be organic and genuine, you wanting to share, you having a breakthrough. I would love that. I want it to be organic and genuine. If you don't get anything away from this, I don't want you to share just so you can enter the giveaway. That's not the vibe. If something calls to you, I want you to share. I would love for you to hear it. So let's begin. Chapter 1. I did it by chapters, not by calls. I don't know. I thought it was cooler. But clarity, long-term game plan, what it means to be a CEO, your vision, and that's call number 1. We're going to kind of dive deeper into that today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking all about my lessons, and that's probably going to be the most important call. And then call number 3 is going to be how to tie it all together. So it's the execution portion of it. what it means to be a CEO and why I want to start with this is a lot of the times people come into the online space when they have no business being in the online space. I'm going to just throw that out there. Okay. The spirit of an entrepreneur. I genuinely believe that entrepreneurship has the power, the magic, the destiny to really shake the world in some really incredible ways. I believe that deep down, we're all worthy of being CEOs of amazing missions, businesses, causes, anything that lights our heart and our soul on fire. Being an entrepreneur is everything to me. It's why I speak. It's why I show up. It's why I jump head first. It's my nature to be curious. I want to know more. I want to help trailblaze, take hits with grace, and sometimes not so gracefully. It's the deepest work that you can do, as it genuinely highlights your worst qualities and also your best. It's like that, the yin and the yang. This work has changed my life. Honestly, this work has changed me in so many ways. The moment that I even just picked up lashes, you know what I mean? When I started lashes, when I took my first class, starting this was a whole new venture for me as well. I've done a lot of business ventures. The work has changed my life the moment that I decided I was worthy. The moment that I decided I was worthy of more and showing up even when no one showed up. This work literally has altered my brain chemistry in the most profound damn ways. And I want that for you. I love definitions. So a definition of an entrepreneur is, although you guys probably know, but from the dictionary, it is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on a greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. That's the definition of an entrepreneur. You're choosing to be a creator. You're choosing to use your voice. You're choosing to walk first. You're choosing bravery. You're choosing humiliation. You're choosing silence. You're choosing insane breakthroughs. You're choosing growth, not just with business, but within yourself, if you want to be an entrepreneur. So the question is, do you? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? This answer needs to be solid before any business plan can take place. Okay, I need to really, really hit home on this. This needs to be solid before any business plan can take place. This is the foundation that you're going to be building your business on if you want this. Imagine if you're like, yeah, I want a beach house, I think. Like, yeah, it sounds good. Imagine building on I think. Imagine your foundation is I think versus I do. Or marriage, for example. Imagine if you're at the altar and the wedding person, whoever the person is that like reads the vows or whatever, and asks, will you take her to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do not quote me on this. And he says, yeah, I think you're gonna be like, I'm gonna think my way out of this goddamn situation. Like, screw this marriage, right? Like that would hurt your heart so much. If this is shaky for you, your business model will be shaky because you aren't sure. However, I'm pretty confident majority of you here are sure as you have been in the business, and the things you like above mentioned have happened to you and you have been through it and you're still here. But I really want to make sure that you are here. Okay? Okay. Clarity and long-term game plan in what you actually need to be successful in the online space. Okay? We're going to take very baby steps here and to have that really squeaky clean foundation for you to build on, because once your foundation is strong, it's going to be a lot more smooth sailing. But a lot of the times people are they build their house with the decoration inside and what the wall colors are going to be and what the appliances are going to be, without a clear foundation on what they're building on. And then woof, one big windstorm and the house is gone, and so is all the pretty things that we focus on. We have like this like shiny object syndrome. Okay, so inspiration sparks to take notice of. This is probably one of the biggest parts of like business in general, is the inspiration part. The task of the creator, an artist, an entrepreneur, whatever you call yourself, is to recognize the transmission and stay with it until it runs its course. What does that mean? Often we don't think that we have the ideas, or we have too many ideas. For the ones that are scratching their heads with, I don't know what to do, or I don't even know how I can help people in the online space, or like what my creativity is. Whether you think or not, you're an artist. Point blank, you're an artist. If you do lashes, brows, hair, whatever walks of life you are currently here from, you're an artist. Choosing to be an entrepreneur is choosing to be an artist and a creative. Okay? So if you're like, I don't know what to even do or how I can help in online space, this is going to be for you. It takes artistic vision to put together a masterpiece, aka a program, a mission, a transformation. Okay? It takes artistic vision, but it also takes strategic vision. But I want to talk about the artistic part and the creativity first. Have you ever noticed when your great ideas come through? Do you pay attention to your patterns? So for me, what I have noticed is it will be so random, like the most like annoying and most randomest times that I have really awesome ideas pop through my head because I'm not forcing it. It'll be when you're driving and you're like looking out the window, you're like, oh my God, you know what would be a really good post? And you just kind of like go, you know, like your mind starts wandering. You're like, oh my God, this would be like incredible if we could like pull this together. Or when you're walking your dog, because it's very mindless, right? When we're normally driving, we're on autopilot, right? I think we can all raise our hands here when we're driving from work to home, from home to grocery store. Like, you know where you're going, you're on autopilot, and your brain has like the time to just exist and be and like run off in different directions. Or when you're walking your dog, it's the same thing. It's very autopilot. It doesn't take you a lot of brain power to walk your dog. Or when you're butt-ass naked in the shower, right? You're washing your hair, conditioning your hair, and your brain just has the moment to be. And you're like, oh my God, this idea, and you're butt-ass naked, and you don't have a pen and paper in sight. Or when you're just about to fall asleep. You're like, oh my God, are you kidding? Like when your brain is like in that weird phase where you're like half asleep, like half awake. Your brain has the moment to just be and exist. I really want you to start paying attention to like where your mind and head goes. Or you're waking up. This happens to me all the time when you're waking up, but you're kind of like drifting back to sleep and you often brush it off. But you have the deep feeling in your belly like, yo, that idea was fire. But you're like, oh, I'll write it down tomorrow. Like, oh, like I'll take care of it tomorrow. I'll do this tomorrow. Do not let those moments pass. It is your duty to write it down as a creative. A lot of the times those ideas don't make sense. But you have like the idea will pop in and like your body tells you like, yeah, this is good. But you're like, I don't really know that, like you don't have, it's just an idea. And that's all it needs to be until you have a moment to think about that idea when you write it down. This is uber important. These are like where my best ideas have come from. It's me about to fall asleep, me being butt-ass naked in the shower, me driving, me walking my dog. Because you're not forced to be creative. Like I have never sat down and been like, today I'm going to create a program. I'm going to sit down and like, no. I create programs over months sometimes with just ideas, things that come into my mind, into my head, the conversations that I have with my clients. I write it all down. Okay, do not let those moments pass. That is your duty as a creative, as an artist, as an entrepreneur to write it down, even if it doesn't make sense at the time. Please get into a habit of doing that. You'll like notice how many awesome things you have come through that you just choose not to write down because you don't think it's important enough when it is. Because I didn't think it was either in the beginning until it was. Next part. What you want versus what you can sustain. If you watched my story earlier today, I brought this up. I feel like I had like a ding, 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 ding moment. A couple days ago, I asked my community if they wanted to hop on a 20-minute call and really chat on why people are not moving into their online space, or what is really holding people back. And I was getting a lot of surface level answers, if I'm being honest. It was a lot of, oh, like, I don't know, I'm not sure, yada, yada. And I'm like, I already know all of that. Like, I know, like, there's hesitation. Like, I understand all of that. Like, that's not what the actual problem is. So my duty as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as a trailblazer, is to always read within between the lines. So the question is what you want versus what you can sustain. What can I sustain? Realistically, where are you currently at, and what your vision is, and what you need strategically behind that vision. So a lot of the times we think that we need, so I'm going to give you an example. When I first started, I thought I needed all of these things, and I ended up doing it. I regret the way that I started my online business. Let's just say that. Because I thought I needed Kajabi. I thought I needed a portal. I thought I needed to pre-record everything. I thought I needed X, Y, and Z to like really pull like the program and the courses to life. Like I thought I had to pre-record instead of doing live calls like this. I thought I needed to have workbooks in order to add more value to my courses. I didn't. There's a lot of things that I thought, because those were the programs that I was part of, and I actually hated it. A lot of the programs in the beginning that I took and participated in, I never really liked. I was like, this is boring as fuck. This is not really keeping me engaged. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't really a fan. But I operated from a place of what I thought I had to do versus what I could actually sustain. And ended up burning myself out so many times. So if you have an idea right now, I'm not really sure how many of you are live here. If you're here, say hello. If you have an idea of what you want to do, maybe you want to put something into online space in a form of a program, like a passive thing. Maybe like you have a skill set. We're going to talk about skill sets in a little bit, but maybe you have ideas that you're like, oh my God, this would be amazing. And you start thinking of all the parts that you need in order to pull it together, when the first step really could be just doing market research and seeing if the idea is even required in a marketplace. You could just start there. That's what I ended up doing towards like in the middle of my journey. I'm like, scratch all of what I've been doing, scratch it, and we're going to take a different route. Okay? Good habits create good art. Good habits create good art. The way we do anything is the way we do everything. Okay? This is the season in your business where we walk to the water, we cast the hook, and we wait, metaphorically speaking. It's the planting seeds phase. It's like fishing, the randomest example. You know what you want to do. You want to go fishing. Stay with me here. And you know your first steps, but you don't know the best lines to use, fishing lines, the best poles to use, the best weather to fish in, how the currents affect the location of the fish, or how the currents affect the market and the people buying. Okay? So it's the same thing when you are putting your first offer together, even if it's a 10th offer. The same things will always apply. Business it's very like straightforward and simple. I always say the business, like doing business isn't the hard part. It's the mental aptitude and like the mental resiliency that we need to build in order to handle business that a lot of people like waver in. But we're going to get to that in our second call. So metaphorically speaking, you know what you want to do, and you know your first steps. You know that you need to buy a fishing pole. You know that you need to buy bait. You know, like all the things that you need to go fishing, but you don't know the ins and outs of fishing. The same thing goes for business. You're like, okay, I know that I need this, this, and this, but I don't really know what the best parts for all of this is going to be. And here's the unconventional way of me telling you my truth. I have a lot of experience, and there's a lot of things that I know in business, and there's a lot of things that I can walk you through. But the biggest part that I am starting to realize, and what I'm really trying to drill into my private clients, my students, is you need to find your own way. What does that mean? You're like, why the hell am I even here if I need to find my own way? I want to give you the blueprint and I want to give you the path to take, but my path might not work for you. Me telling you that this fishing pole is the best, you're going to realize that you like a whole other goddamn fishing pole, metaphorically speaking. Strategy. We'll use fishing pole as a strategy, metaphorically, right? You're like, oh, I don't even like that. I want to do that. But at least you know one part of the strategy, one part of the puzzle piece, one part of the whole fishing equation of what you need to do. And you get to choose if you like that and if you don't like that. If you don't like that, you're going to go and find other avenues that is going to work for you. That is your duty as an entrepreneur to figure that out. A lot of the times I see people getting stuck. They're like, well, I was taught this way. But it's also your job and your duty to know another way. You need to become like an expert problem solver. Okay? The trial and error phase of business. The have fun and fuck it up phase. You need to realize this when coming into the online space. The trial and error is where you will learn the lessons needed for you to understand what you want. A lot of the times we're so scared to mistakes. You're like, oh my God, like, well, if I do this and if people don't show up and like, oh my God, like what if this is not good enough? And we go down into these really weird spirals when you need to do all of this in order for you to know what it feels like running a business. Okay. A big part of your vision is curating the quality that you allow in. A big part of your vision is curating the quality that you allow in. The objective isn't to learn how to mimic greatness, but to calibrate our internal meter of greatness so we can make better thousands of choices that ultimately will lead to our own great work. This is a quote from, I love him so much. I'm going to tell you right now. Rick Rubin. You guys should look him up. Rick Rubin. A big part of your vision is curating the quality that you allow in. The objective isn't to learn how to mimic greatness, but to calibrate your internal meter of greatness so we can better make the thousands of choices that ultimately will lead to our own great work. This is when I talk about capacity a lot. This is kind of what Rick refers to, is the capacity meter. Okay? 2 strategic options that you can move with and what that would actually look like for you. So one part could be done for your service, or a service many need help with, but they can do it for themselves, aka you're going to teach many how to do something. A business thing, a mental thing, a skill set thing. So for example, either done for your service or you're going to teach a lot of people how to do something. So 2 things. So done for your service example would be a social media manager, a content manager, meal delivery, podcast editing, virtual assistant, online business manager, creating websites, right? So that's all done for your service. You hire someone to do the service for you. Now, you're going to have a content. So for example, you have a social media manager done for your service, or you're going to have do-it-yourself content program that teaches you how to use social media. Done for you services is going to be really hard to scale versus doing programs and services that you can have a lot of people in. That's more scalable. However, I will always say this until the day that I die. I think you should do private mentorship before you start any kind of program. I think you should do coaching calls before you start any kind of program. I firmly believe in that. Because you don't really know what people need until you start talking to them. Sometimes we think we know what people need until we actually talk to people and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Way off the kilter here. Okay? So done for your services, or a program that teaches you how to do something, do it yourself. So an offer that many can join But the point is to put an offer together that you notice your people need help with in your community, on Instagram and social media, or the same conversations that you're having over and over and over again. Okay? Business is science. Business is the science of commerce. It's selling a product in the marketplace for cash. That's what business is. That's what we're doing here today. So you are either in the I don't know what my audience needs, or you're in a phase where you have a good idea where the gap is in your audience and what they want, or you want to pivot in a whole different direction entirely. All is perfect. There's like nothing wrong with whatever level that you're at, all is well. But when you want to branch out, you have to remember that the people that buy from you right now, currently, versus marketing to a new audience will require the same work that you did to get to where you're at right now, but for different skill set or offer you're selling. Always want you to think of that. When you, like right now, let's say that you have a really good foundation with your people. Like you have either like a following, a loyal following. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of followers. I'm just saying that people are noticing what you're doing. And you're good at your job, you're good at your craft, you're good at lashes, brows, hair, nails, branding, marketing, social media, it doesn't matter what it is. But if you're like, you know what, I want to actually teach people how to knit. A whole, like that, like a whole different ball game, a whole different business, does not even correlate to what you're doing right now. And a lot of the times I hear people that they're wanting to do different things. They're like, oh, like I want to completely veer away from, you know, beauty, lashes, hair, whatever. So when I left lashes, and I want to give you kind of a storyline of how I was able to pivot like out of lashes and what the strategic vision was and how I actually brought it to life and how I was able to walk away. When I left lashes, I leveraged what I was known for, what I was good at, and made it a point to get known in those areas because I knew I wanted to work from anywhere in the world. Like I knew that traveling, training, having a studio, having lash clients was not my end goal. I knew that honestly, the first time I ever made money online, when I first had my first offer was an ebook. Ebooks are really not that popular anymore. They still are around, but they're not that popular. That was my first thing. It was an ebook. And I made like $37. Well, when I first put it out, yeah, I think I made like $300 in like 2 hours. I was like, that is it. We are done. Like, I think I was like showering and I like had just like launched the ebook and I was so sad that nobody was buying because I thought the moment that I put the link out there, people were going to come swarming in and nobody did. Well, unbeknownst to me, I got in the shower and I was like, oh my God, I'm just like, you know, upset. Like, man, you know, like maybe on like world isn't even for me. I was just like sulking in the shower and it came out and I looked at my phone and I used Shopify at the time. And I had made like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 sales. It was like $300 something. I was like, what? I just like, you know, was sulking in the shower for 40 minutes. I was like, okay, I have something here. Like I have something here. I fucking know it. And I leveraged the fuck out of that. You bet I did. Okay. And that was the time I didn't have a lot of followers. If you are new here, this is my second Instagram account too. Right? I left behind a pretty decent following. I think I was at like 15K, 16K, I don't know, something like that. And said, fuck it all. Ended up starting all over from scratch. And right now, I don't know how many followers I have. It doesn't really matter. The point is that often we think that we need more followers, more eyes, when you need to really train your focus on serving the people that you already have in your community. Even if you have 20 story views, the potential is there, right? So when I left lashes, I leveraged what I was known for. When I first created my online program, like an actual program, I took all the things that I was good at and put them into that marketplace to sell. aka into an offer to sell, into an online program to sell. When I say marketplace, I'm kind of just talking about the online abyss. It was called Dream Client Machine. For any of my OGs that are going to be watching this, if you remember that program, it was 3 parts. It was client building, content, aka social media, and finances. Those are like the 3 things that I noticed there was a really big gap in the lash industry where a lot of people were struggling. and I did a lot of research on this. I took my time with this. I hopped on calls. Like I really like went in. I seen the language that people were using when they were expressing their struggles. This is why I always tell you to hop on calls and have people talk to you. Because once like those floodgates open up, people tell you a lot of things, and having a 30-minute call will be a lot more beneficial for you than just like asking a question on your story polls. But we're going to get to that too. And there's a time and a place for both. Okay. That leads me to what skill sets you have right now. What are you good at? You cannot sell a service or a product without a skill set. Because if you don't have a skill set, you don't have a product worth selling, an offer, a program, a course, a thing, whatever you want to sell. You cannot sell a service, a product without a skill set. Because if you don't have a skill set, you don't have a product worth selling. Every product that you're going to have is a solution to something. This, for example, solution to thirst. My little Stanley, my emotional support cup, obviously solution to thirst. You can leave this in like 100-degree weather for 6 hours. Same thing, it's always going to be cold, right? This is a solution that Stanley came up with. Hand sanitizer. Solution to what? Germs. Okay. Chapstick. Solution to what? Chapped lips, right? So the same thing goes for online offers too. It needs to offer a solution to something, and you need to have a skill set to put something together in order for it to be worth selling to the marketplace. So with that being said, what skill sets you have right now? And like, it doesn't have to be necessarily business. So like, I'm going to give you examples that you can kind of like, make your own and think of your strong suits as a woman, as a business owner, things you've been through, things you understand, like ins and outs. Like if I woke you up tomorrow at 3 a.m. and I was like, hey, this is what I need help with. This is what I want to talk to you about. What is the first thing that would come to mind that you're like, yup, like I can talk about this for 6 hours straight. I don't need a presentation. I don't need time. I don't need anything. Like, you like have it in you. So example for me, my skill sets would be business foundations. I understand how to build businesses, marketing, storytelling, personal brand, content creation, emotional intelligence, power of words, explaining things in a manner that make hard things make sense with ease. Right? So those are just some examples for skill sets. Ask if you're like, I don't freaking know you're like, big blank. You're like, I have nothing, Carol. I don't know. Ask your audience what they know you for. Sometimes you have to ask multiple times before people feel comfortable opening up. Using polls helps a lot more than just questions. Like I notice when I do like the question sticker on Instagram and I ask a question, I don't get, like I get responses, but I don't get a lot of engagement and interaction versus when I ask, what is it called? Like the quiz poll. And if you put like 3 things in there that you want to be known for. So you have to be strategic about this. What do you want to be known for? Like if you want to be known for, I'm going to just say client building, content creation, and branding. Right? Like those are the things that you're like, this is my jam. This is my strong suit. I'm good at this. And when you put those up, just see what people are saying if they know you for those things. If you don't get a lot of feedback, that means that there's a disconnect and your content is not really lining up with what you actually want to be known for. So that's going to be a content thing that is going to be in the program of Queen of Pivot, and we're going to get into all of that. But so doing those polls is really going to help you, and just seeing where people are at and what do they know you for, or how do they feel about you, right? Or I'm trying to think of like what else you can. Another question you can ask, like in the thing, what would you say I'm really fucking good at? Like in your little question polls. So it would be like, consider what you'd say is my zone of genius, what my strength is, like as a business owner, as a creator, a coach, and educator. What do I do to support you, kind of thing, right? Or another question that you can ask in the polls is, what would you refer me as if you were describing me to someone? I think that's a really good one. What would you refer to me as if you were describing me to someone? I think that's really good. So it just like opens up that conversation. You can do quizzes, or you can do questions, or you can do whatever. But the key here is to put in the things that you're passionate about and seeing if your community is lining up with that. Because you need community in order to have an online business. Community always comes first. Okay? And sometimes you have to ask multiple times before people feel comfortable opening up. So I remember when I started doing market research, I think the first 3 times I asked, I didn't get any responses, like barely any. But once I started doing the little polls, like the quizzes, I got a little bit more answers. I went live a few times. I would keep on putting them up like once a week for probably like a month straight. And then I stopped, and then I did it again just because it takes time for people to open up. If for some reason it happens so that there is nothing, people don't engage, they don't say anything, but like you get no responses, you're like, fuck this. Online business is not for me. It's actually perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. Because you can carve out an area for yourself that you want to be known for. Okay? Because you can carve out an area for yourself that you want to be known for. How beautiful is that? You get to fucking make your own. But this isn't a season of instant gratification. This will take time. Release the when it'll happen by. Please, for the love of all things good in the world, release the when. When we first start, we're like, we need this, this, and this, because you see people making a lot of money online, and you're like, well, she's been doing it at the same time that I have, and she's making blah, blah, blah. Like we go down like this insane black hole, and you need to cut it out, or release the when it'll happen by, and hone in on your creativity and your skill sets. Once you have that, you will be unstoppable. I mean that wholeheartedly. Remember the entrepreneurial spirit I was referring to when we first started this call? Okay. Another way that you can identify your skill sets, so this is going to be homework. Another way you can identify your skill sets is putting yourself in your shoes 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever works best. Put yourself in your shoes a year or 2 years ago. What did you need 2 years ago that would have made the biggest difference in your business? What have you learned? What do you know inside out? If you could have like your version now 2 years ago, what would you give her? What happened, like the most pivotal things in your business that you're like, holy shit, how did I not know this? Wow, knowing this literally just like changed my business inside out. Incredible. Like made the biggest difference. What are those things? I always like when I teach and I educate, I love doing that. I love putting myself in positions. And then this is when I tell you too, when I talk about patterns a lot. Patterns is something I'm like really big on. Are you noticing the patterns within yourself? Right? If you're like, oh, I don't know, we got a bigger problem. So put yourself in your shoes 2 years ago. What did you need? Many talk about niches, and I personally believe in carving out a niche in the marketplace industry and not finding a niche. So I'll use myself as an example again. I carved out a niche now in the beauty industry and how to get out of the beauty industry. But my niche for a really long time was a lash artist. But also another part of my niche, I would say, was I was the outspoken one. Like I always have been the one that has weird ideas, slightly controversial. I talk about the big elephant in the room all the time. And I just talk about things that people are not comfortable talking about, because a lot of the things that I refer to and the things that I talk about are the things that I have been through myself personally. And I've seen a lot of shit. I've dealt with a lot of shit, personal, business, all the things. And that's why I feel comfortable talking about it, because that's where I have seen the biggest difference like happen for me in my business. Not the 3-tip trick how to. That's like not what has given me the business that I have. It is experiencing business and life. So as I said, many talk about niches, and I personally believe in carving out a niche in the marketplace industry, not actually finding a niche. Think of Tesla, for example. They didn't choose their niche. They carved out a niche for themselves. What, Tesla is 19, 20 years old? You think they're like, what will be good right now? No, they're like, you know what's going to be fucking cool in 20 years? Electric cars, bitch, let's go. And they knew that it was going to take time. They understood the concept of releasing the timeline of when it's going to happen and having a strategic approach. Look at Tesla now. When electric cars first came out, people were like, haha, like how, they were making all the fun. What's happening now? Right? A huge market. So it's having that strategic vision and having the strategy behind the vision and seeing the bigger picture. A lot of the times in the beginning phases, we're building a business for tomorrow, for the next month, when you need to look at your business a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Everything that you are doing and putting out to the world today, the course, the program, the things that you want to put out there, your services, your talents, does it align with the version of you 2 years from now? If you are thinking like, oh my God, I'm just going to put together an adhesive course, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the point of this. Do you want to teach adhesive, like lash adhesive 2 years from now? Is that going to be part of your business model? Or are you just doing it because you're good at it? You can do it because you're good at it. There's going to be lessons in that, but I always want you to think bigger. Can you put a course together and hate it 3 months from now? Absolutely. I've done it. Hello. I've done it. We're going to talk about all the lessons tomorrow. But I want you to think a little bit bigger, because I don't want you putting together things that are not going to support your long-term strategic vision for your business. The business model is the structure, and then your product is your offer, and branding is the experience of your expression. The business model is the structure, and then your product is your offers, and the branding is the experience of your expression. We want both in your business. We don't want a perfect business model with no expression. Have you ever taken a course from someone that you're like, that they're really good at like their craft or whatever it is, but it's literally the most boring fucking experience of your life? I have quite a few friends like that. They're so fucking smart, so smart. But the expression of their business is so boring that it's really hard to sit through it. Maybe my toxic trait is I like being entertained. But we all do, because storytelling is the future. Okay, storytelling is the future. We're going to talk about that in the content chapter of the Queen of Pivot. That's going to be one of our really big sections. And we're going to really get into storytelling too, what it actually means, that the future of content, the future of Instagram, the future of social media, what all of it is going to look like in the next year, 2 years. So we don't want the perfect business model with no expression, and we don't want to have a bunch of expression with no business model to actually move it through or sustain it. So that concludes today's call. We chatted the long-term game plan. The instant gratification needs to be thrown out the window. If you want that, the online space is not going to be for you. You're going to be really miserable. What it actually means to be a CEO, I think this is a really big conversation of actually carrying and leading yourself and building the CEO identity for yourself, so you can move your business through the shaky seasons, the hard seasons. We talked about the foundation that you're building on today. right? Instead of I think, it's I do. The inspiration sparks to take notice of. This is huge, 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 huge. You'll have such beautiful breakthroughs when you're able to notice that. What you want versus what you can sustain, to keep it real and realistic. The 2 strategic options to move forward with, either having a done for you service or a program that many people that can join, and you are talking to many people in the room, in the virtual room, essentially. That is going to be a lot more scalable, but having 2 parts of it is perfect. You can have both, as you can sell 2 things, 3 things, 4 things, 5 things at the same time. And then talking about your skill sets that you need to have in order to actually have a sustainable online business and something that you can build on. So your skill sets essentially are obviously going to be your foundation, because you cannot sell a service, a product, without a skill set. Because if you don't have a skill set, you don't have a product worth selling, aka an offer or program. Okay? Talked a little bit about Tesla too. The big long-term game. So that concludes today's conversation. It's been beautiful, 50, 51, 52 minutes. I am going to upload this. You guys can come and watch the replay. If you are watching the replay, I would love to know. I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Tomorrow is going to be a really open, raw conversation. You can just kind of pop in your earbuds and either take a walk, whatever you want to clean around the house, and really just like hear my journey more than anything, where you're going to be able to extract a lot of lessons that have given me the business that I have now, that if you're able to like implement them now, you're going to be able to like avoid eating a lot of garbage and not face planning as hard as I have for the last couple, 2-3 years. And you're going to have your own lessons and all of that. But thank you so much, guys, for being here. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.